everyone. Thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. The White House has confirmed that United States President Donald Trump is indeed planning on making his first visit to the Jewish state during the last week of May. The discussions come through alleged plans to extend his European tour, and his Israel visit would be scheduled to roughly coincide with Jerusalem reunification celebrations. During his visit, Trump is expected to recognize all of Jerusalem as Israel's undivided capital. However, there is no word as to whether or not he will fulfill his campaign promise to move the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Congress passed a motion to officially move the embassy back in 1995, but every president since then has signed executive orders every 6 months to postpone the move. Trump, unlike his predecessors, didn't only speak about the move, though. His appointed ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, is also a pro-settlement, pro-embassy move supporter. After speaking with Palestinian officials, however, the planned move seemed to have been stalled. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said that making such a move would, quote, destroy the prospects of any political process and would open the gates of hell in the region and in the whole world. Khaled Mashaal, the chief of Hamas, has just reported that he plans to reveal an updated and amended version of its founding charter. The planned changes were not publicized, but Hamas, which is an internationally recognized terror organization, wrote its founding charter in 1987. In it, Hamas states that Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as it obliterated others before it. It goes on to liken the Jewish people to Nazis who commit atrocities without reason against the Arab people, and references the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, an anti-Semitic and fabricated text alleging a Jewish plan for global domination. Though it's not yet clear what will be different about the new charter, analysts predict the change will be in reference to the Jewish state within 1967 borders, or maybe it might remove the part about its ties to its parent organization, the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood. On a side note, Hamas is also saying that it will not fall prey to Abbas's threats to cut funding to the coastal Gaza enclave. Abbas said yesterday that the Palestinian Authority was ready to make unprecedented financial moves to force Hamas either to rejoin the Palestinian Authority under Abbas's leadership or find a way to foot their fuel bills themselves. Just this morning, in response to Hamas's indignation, the PA notified Israeli authorities that they have stopped paying for the electricity that Israel provides to the Strip. From now on, Gaza will be reliant on international and private donations to cover the costs. Many speculate that the power and fuel crisis in Gaza, which was already recognized as a humanitarian crisis by international observers, will only get worse now, possibly resulting in a larger divide and more violence. Today, the Arab League is calling on the International Committee of the Red Cross to intervene on behalf of Palestinian prisoners striking in Israeli prisons. In a letter from Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abelgate to ICRC President Peter Maurer, the Arab League asked that, quote, the committee urgently intervene with Israeli authorities to stop the various abuses being committed against those prisoners of war. The move comes as some 1,500 Palestinian security prisoners are entering their 10th day of hunger strikes in order to procure a wide range of demands, including more payphones in prisons, increased monthly family visits rights, and greater access to higher education. The strike is being led by Marwan Barghouti, who is currently serving 5 life sentences for murder. The Foreign Ministry released a statement saying that Palestinian prisoners are not political prisoners. They are convicted terrorists and murderers. They were brought to justice and are treated properly under international law. The new Israeli law that bars entry into the country to anti-Israel and BDS supporters is having a bigger effect than previously expected. The Union for Reform Judaism, which represents the largest sect of Jews in North America, is now warning that support for the Jewish state could be harmed among the young Jewish population in the diaspora. The URJ president, Rabbi Rick Jacobs, wrote a letter to Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday, alleging that the new law is concerning for a number of reasons, the least of which is that birthright participants are now worried they might be stopped at the border upon landing in Israel. These are young people raised in our movement who are active in a range of Jewish organizations on their campuses where they face nearly daily situations where they are put on the front line of defending and explaining Israel. Now they find themselves in this very difficult and troubling situation, he wrote. The new law, he continued, is counterproductive to Israel's interests both as a democracy and as a vibrant nation worthy of exploration and engagement by countless Jews and others around the world. I am frustrated that by passing this law, the Israeli government has in essence posted a giant sign by the door of the Jewish state saying, "Don't come unless you agree with everything we're doing here." End quote. Hundreds of young Jewish Americans recently challenged the Birthright Organization on this very topic, requesting that they take a firm stance against the law. Rabbi Jacobs finished his letter by saying, quote, "I look forward to clarification on this matter at your earliest convenience." End quote. The Knesset has given its final approval for a 2-week delay on the launch of the new public broadcaster, otherwise known as Kan. Kan had been slated to begin broadcasting sometime next week, but the delay means that the new public broadcaster won't go on the air until May 15th. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had been pressuring the government to close the IBA and replace it with something else, leading to a spat with Finance Minister Moshe Kahlon that threatened to jeopardize the Prime Minister's ruling coalition. Eventually, the two reconciled and agreed to allow the new public broadcaster to go on air, so long as the news desk remains separate. Opposition lawmakers claim that the new compromise will give Netanyahu almost full editorial control over the news desks of the new public news outlet. That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.